Hello guys, welcome to Go Do Micro Projects. In this application, we're going to build a gallery app using JSON API to get something like this. If you want to type along with me, kindly install the following: npm install Redux, 2 npm install React Redux, 3 npm install Redux DevTools extension, and 4 npm install Ashes. With all said and done, let's begin. Thank you very much. Let's begin by creating 3 folders in our SRT folder. Call the first one Assets. Create another one and call it Components. Then create another one and call it Redux. Okay, so that is that. The first one, Assets. Now we're going to need our spinner image. We'll put it in the Assets. So we can hold that one for now. Let's go to our components and get our components action. Then later we're going to bring our images that we're going to need in the assets folder. Okay, so let's focus on the component now. So let's take the component, let's create another folder and call it photo folder. Okay, photo folder. Now in the photo folder, let's create a file and call it photo.js. Okay. Now inside photo.js, what do? Let's create the boilerplate RFCE again. And so div, why don't we make a React fragment? So we say React.fragment. Okay. So inside that we can just say hello. Let's connect that to the app.js to view on the screen. So app.js, and we say photo. Let's import it. It has been imported for us already. Great. So let's check our screen. Okay, let me take a new terminal. We say cd my app. Good. npm start. Good. Enough that. Great. Great, we have hello on the screen, meaning we're ready to go. So what we're doing is look at the structure of our application. With our setup, I want us to have something that take a card. Now inside the card we have the header over here. Now but with the body we're going to have the images displayed inside the body that way. 1, 2, and 3, yeah, something like this. I hope you get what I mean. With the page setup too, let's have let me take the first two, I'll make the first two free, okay, so that I can have access to the middle region. But with the middle region I'm going to use 8. Okay, so it's going to be like 282. So we can use 282. So with that is that for the structure. Let's begin. So we go to I close the app.js and go to the photo.js, create a div, and inside that we say give it a row. So we give it a class name and call it row. Okay, so inside the row, create another div, give it a class name and call it call md2. Okay, so the first is going to be free. We can copy that, then make the second one 8 so that we can work in the 8 region. Okay, to 8, so we're going to work in this region. Now, so what do we want? We need a card, so we say div, and so I'll give it a class name and call it card. So inside the card we need the header and the body, so call it a div, give the class name Now we say card header. I can just copy that. Good. So I say card body. Okay, so let's take the first one, card header. Now with the card header, what do we need? We need an h3 tag. Then inside that tag, we're gonna say gallery app with JSON API. So that is that with the header. Good. So let's check that out. Good. So what we need to do is just center it and make it bold. So we go back to center it. We say text center. Then we take the h3 tag and give it a class name. And we say font weight. Font weight bold. Okay. So that is that. Let's check it out. Good. Let's give it some margin tab. Then after that, we go to our CSS to make it more beautiful. So we say row, we can say a margin tab 3. Good. So that is that. Let's check it out. Good. Now we're ready for our CSS. So we go to our CSS, then we style it. So we're gonna say, let's give it the card header. Then we call our background color. Give it a background color of 35333. Good job. And give it our text color. Say color. First give it white smoke. Good. So let's check it out. Great. The next thing to do now is to work on the body. Now with the body, how do you call it? Since we're working with an API, we need to go to Redux so that the Redux fetches the API for us. So we can begin our Redux. So let's close our component, then go to Redux. Here. No, inside the Redux, let's create a file and call it store.js. Now inside the Redux folder again, let's create another file and call it reducer.js. Inside the same Redux folder again, let's create another folder and call it photo Redux. Okay, so let's go to photo Redux now and create a file and call it photo.actiontypes.js. Inside the photo Redux again, let's create another file and call it photo.actions.js. So inside the photo Redux folder again, let's create another file and call it photo.reducer.js. Good. So that is that. Let's take the first one, action types. Okay. Now the types of actions that we're going to need in our application. The first one we're going to say is what? Load data request. So we're going to say export const load data request equals same thing. Loaded the request. Okay, so we can just copy that 3 times. Good. Then the second one is going to be load data success. Success. So then the last one is going to be failure. See, so okay. So that is that for the action types. The next thing we need to do is to go to photo.actions. So first thing we need to import our action types. So we say import load data request, load data success, and last one load data failure. Good. From where? From action types. Good. So that is that. Next, we import issues. Issues from issues. Good. Okay, now we're ready to go. Now let's this must be even good. Let's export const load data. Okay, let's call it load data because a function, okay, that will return let's use an async await. Okay, async await. Okay, async await, and into bracket we can call the function. Good. So inside that we can call what? Dispatch. Okay. So inside that we can now say try and what? Catch. Try and what? Catch. Try then catch. Okay, catch what? It's going to catch the error. Error. Good. So then let's take it one after the other. Let's take the first one, the try. So with the try, okay, let me bring this also down. Good. Now let's take the first one, the try. Let's take the first one, dispatch. Dispatch what? Dispatch into bracket. Let's take the type. We take a type of load data request. Then let's call our URL. We select data URL equals data URL. Now let me go to fetch the data URL. I go to my JSON. Yeah, okay. It's my JSON placeholder. So inside that we have the photos over here. So we take it from here. Okay. So I can just copy this. Okay. And paste it inside. Great. So that is that. Good. So next we can now say that let response be equal to await archives dot get to bracket data URL. So finally we can dispatch this a type code load data success, comma, to payload response dot data. Okay, give it a value response of data. So that is that for the load data success. So with the error, what do? We dispatch a type, type, this is what a type load data failure, come on, the payload and give it a value error. So that is that with the photo.actions. Next is to go to photo.reducer. So go to photo.reducer. Good. So the first thing to do is to import the action types. But the action type, we've already checked it already in .actions where we imported it. So I just need to import the action types again. So I take it there, the photo.reducer, and paste it. Just paste it nicely and take the ashes off. I don't need that one. Good. So that is that. So next we need to create a key and a store. So we say sport const, let's call it photo key equals, let's give it so inside the store we're gonna call it photo store. Next we create an initial state to say let's initial state be equal to what? Good. Let's take the first one, data, and give it a value mtr. Come on. Let's take the next one and call it loading. Let's call it loading. Yeah, I prefer loading. Loading, make it what? False. Then the last one, we call it error message. Error message. A message. Let's give it a value empty string. So I think that is that. Ready for the photo.reducer. So we say export const photo reducer equal to a function. Good. So inside that function we can say our state equals initial state action, which can further be broken down. Say let the type payload equals action. Okay, so now we're ready for our switch statement. So we can say switch into bracket type So inside that, we can say our first case, when the case is load data request, what do? Then return what? Give us the state back, comma, then make loading, make it's loading, it's loading, it's loading true. Okay, so it's loading is not spelled well. It's loading good. So make it loading true. So next, that is for data, load data request. So how about load data success? So just paste it. So say case load data success. Success, what do? Return the state back. Make loading is loading false. Okay. False. Then finally make the data with the value payload. So that is that for success. How about failure? Now with the failure, case load data failure, what do? Failure. Okay. Return the state back. We don't need it's loading anymore. I'm just going to yes, give error message. Sorry. Error. No. Error message with the value payload. Okay. So that is that. Take this off. So finally, we can go for our default case. We say default to return state. So that is that for our photo.reducer. So next is to go to the root reducer. So the root reducer, what do we need to do? We need to import the photo.reducer. Okay, so we say import photo reducer from where that's good, and from where photo reducer. Okay, so that is that. Next we need to import combine reducers from Redux. So now we can say that let root reducer be equal to combine reducers into bracket what? Let's call the key. We say photo key. Sorry, caps. Photo key. Oh, sorry, it should be square bracket. Get photo key with the value photo reducer. That is that. Let's import photo key. Okay, it's also photo key is also a stem in the photo reducer, so we can just say come on. Then we say p photo key again. So finally, we can export our root reducer. So we say export root reducer. Now export it to where? To the store. Okay. So we go to the store and import it. So we say import root reducer from where? From root reducer. Okay. So that is that. Next we import create store and middleware, and we'll apply middleware, sorry, and apply middleware from Redux. Next we import compose with DevTools from Redux DevTools extension. So lastly, we import thank from where? From Redux thank. That is that. So now we can say let middleware, let me make it caps, where be equal to square bracket, and I say thank here. Okay, we're gonna put all the middlewares in one variable so that in future we can add more middlewares to it should the need be. So finally we can just say let store be equal to create store to bracket root reducer, comma, compose with DevTools, bracket, apply middleware, and then into a bracket, and all the middleware that we need for the application. Yeah, so over here I just call it, give us all the middleware. So I say middleware, then that's it. So in future we can add, this will take care of all the middlewares we're going to add over here. So I can add more middlewares here. Just import it, just add it here. That's all. Just bring comma, add another one. Let's say logger. Okay, then import it. That's how it is. So there's no need. So that is that. So finally, we can export our store. So we say export store. Now export a store to where? To the app.js. So we go to app.js and we import our store. So we say import store from where? From store. Redux and what store. Then we also need to import provider from React Redux. So next is to wrap the provider around the component. Okay. So over here we can say provider So inside the provider, we can say store equals store. Then this side down there. Good, like this. So that is that. So we think our store should be ready. So let's go and check it out. Good. Go to our store. Good. Our store has been initialized nicely. Go to see our store is ready. So next thing to do now is link the store to the component so that we can fetch the data. So that is that. Now to do that, let me close all this. We don't need them. Okay, let's go back to our component photo.js. Then import. First import use effect. Good. Use effect. Effect. Then we also import what? Use selector, comma, use dispatch from React Redux. Okay, so that is that. Let's initialize dispatch. Okay. So to do that, we say let dispatch, ch, equals to use dispatch. Good, use dispatch function. Okay, so our dispatch is ready. Now where do we dispatch? We need to use what? Use effect. So we say use effect, which gives us a function. Good. Inside that, we can say dispatch into bracket load data. Oh, sorry, load data. Good. We call load data. No, load data is the when you go to Redux photo.actions, we have the load data over here. This load data. So we are calling this load data. So let's import this load data into our. So over here we say import what? Load data from where? From photo.actions. No. Yeah, good. Redux, then go to photo.actions. Good. So this thing is ready. Good. Now let's check our store if our data has been loaded. So we go back. Let's check our store. Great! We got data. Next thing to do is to view the data on the component. Okay. So to view the data on the component, let's do that. How to view the data on the component. Good. Now we say view data. Good. So we give it, let's view photo. Okay, view photo. Let's call it view photo. View photo equals use selector. The selector into bracket. That gives us a function. Good. And inside that, we need the state. Good. That will return the state, then photo key. So we say photo key. Okay. So let's import the photo key. Now the photo key can be found in the photo.reducer. So we go up and import it. We say no. We say import photo key from where? No. Yes. Redux, then photo Redux, then photo reducer. Give me some photo reducer. You can see, go to photo reducer, see the key. See, take the key, the photo key. So we just imported it. So that is that. Let's go back to photo reducer. It's good. So that is that with the view data. So we have the view photo. And so now let's view the our component, our store on the component. So to do that, we can use JSON to help us do that easily. So let me call a pre tag. Okay. Then I call JSON. So inside that, I can say JSON.stringify into bracket view photo. So that will display the data on the screen. Good. So we got data on the component. So now we can see our data. You can see the album ID, you can see the ID 1, you can see the title, and you can see the URL. Okay. And lastly, the thumbnail. Okay. So that is what we're going to use to help us display all the images in the card body. Okay. So let's see how to do that. So inside the card body, let's create a React fragment. So React.fragment. Good. So inside that, we need to call our JSS. Then we say view photo dot data dot map to bracket. I should give us function. Okay. Then inside that we can say item that I'm going to return what? Return, no, not this one. Okay, return. Let's take a div. Return a div. Okay, so we say a div. And inside that div, we can have our image tab. So we say img but src this way and give it an alt name equals what? Images. Okay. Then we just close the tag. Sorry, close the tag. So that is that. So this is the mapping. So what we need to do is to what? Write the item dot. So here we say item dot the thumbnail. Okay, the thumbnail. Let's go check it out. It's over here. And just copy the name here to get the same spelling. Good. That is that. And inside that we make the how do you call it? The div. We give it a key. So we say item. Oh, sorry. So we say key equals item dot ID. Okay, so that is that. Now we can check our application. Great. See how it is displayed. Now we need to display it in a grid, 4x4 grid. Okay, so let's go to CSS and get our 4x4 grid. So I go to CS app.css, then call the card body. So we say card body to bracket. We say display grid, and inside that we say grid with template columns. We need repeat for command one fraction. Okay, then inside that let's have a grid gap, grid gap, a grid gap of 10 pixels. So that will solve that. Go back again, check it. Great. So that is that, guys. Next thing to do is to take the pay tag off. So you go to our pay tag, then we'll just take it off. Go back to. Great. That is that, guys. Thank you very much for sticking through. Catch you in the next video. Don't forget to do good. Say out.